From the infamous Illuminati to the modern Freemasons, the world is fascinated with secret societies. Tales of child sacrifice, world domination, and dark dealings with extraterrestrials are all paraded before us as truth. From angels and demons to the Da Vinci Code, one author at least has made an incredible living out of the whole world of conspiracies. The New World Order, famously penned by the science fiction writer H.G. Wells, has become a reality in the minds of millions, and today its leaders are even believed by some to be reptilian shapeshifters. The massive amounts of information set before us now on the World Wide Web may be spreading further and faster than ever before, but the belief in a powerful and secret ruling elite is nothing new. In fact, secret societies have been around almost as long as man. The early Christians, for instance, were a secretive cult themselves, undermining the governments of church and state. They adhered to secret forms of communication, had rituals, and were aggressive in their rise to power, spreading the word of their God far and wide. It takes generations, but a secret society here can be proven to have influenced our culture, our beliefs, and to have eventually grasped power itself. This pattern can easily be found in many other forms, such as Islam, the Roman and Greek empires, revolutionary Russia, and many more. In order for us to truly comprehend the whole picture, we have to stand back from history, religion, and political beliefs. We have to be neutral, neither fulfilling some fantasy that Blofeld is sitting in a large metallic room stroking a white cat and plotting our doom, nor being so naive that we do not believe men in power grouped together. Men have always grouped together for strength. It is an evolutionary device and a powerful energy within us. So also do greed, envy and lust surge through our veins, and to deny them is to deny our nature. But to understand them and find balance in strength and compassion is a virtue. One of the most confusing elements for any researcher coming to the world of secret societies afresh is the dualism they discover. On the one hand, the researcher will uncover ancient esoteric teaching passed on from one to another for generations. On the face of it, this teaching appears worthy and holds great psychological and spiritual truths. But then we also find that these secret societies have also been implicated in some bloody and awful periods in human history. We appear to have found a paradox, and splits then occur, not just within the societies themselves, but in those researching them. Following many years of research into the mind of man and the history of his actions, I am of the opinion that this paradox can be explained simply. It is the nature of man, emerging or manifesting itself within the group. All men are divided within themselves, so our ancient texts and even our modern psychologists tell us. This division is communicated to the wider human body, the society. This is the reason that Democrats and Republicans, who both want similar ends, find themselves on opposite sides of the political divide. In such divisions in our society, we see the duality of the human mind revealed before us in often graphic terms. Secret societies gather these divisions together. After all, Democrats and Republicans are Freemasons. Secret societies are no different to any other group in our world. They have a hierarchy of control. They have community-spirited events and rituals. They hold a series of belief systems just as any religion or political party. But the big difference is that they keep their hierarchy, events, rituals and belief systems a secret. They hide them in code, cipher and symbolism, and it has been this way for millennia, for it is also a part of our nature. This is the true power base of the world's secret societies, that they understand our nature, our minds, our yearnings, and they utilise this knowledge for whatever ends they currently see fit, just as any good religion or government has done for centuries. Such knowledge has been handed down within the group ever since it was discovered, but other forms of knowledge were also passed along. The wisdom of the stars has found a life outside of the groups as astrology, and yet this was originally the knowledge of navigation, time and measurement. Such knowledge was immensely powerful for millennia and a closely guarded secret. Many of the symbols we see in secret societies today can be shown to relate entirely and originally to the Sabiists or star worshippers of ancient times. It was the stars and planets that guided them safely to wherever they needed to go. It was the sun that gave them day, and the moon lit up the night. By knowing the progress and position of the heavenly bodies, man could measure time and distance. To ages that did not have the clock, satellite guidance systems and cheap flights, these were matters of survival, and because of this, they were jealously guarded and secret groups emerged. A device was needed for man to measure, and he ingeniously developed many things. One of these was the staff, and this had become a symbol today of the wizard or wise one. Seen in the hands of the druid, the priest, the augurs, and in all manner of ancient depictions, the staff is a marker for us today of one who in the past held great knowledge. Such knowledge was in the hands of those who researched it, discussed it, and tested it. These were people in ancient times who needed time to consider these things. They needed to be free of the usual day-to-day act of surviving, and so they were special people, set apart from society as a whole and housed in comfortable surroundings. The life of the community depended on these shaman and wise ones. These were the priests, casting their gaze towards the heavens, predicting events, guiding the people. For they had the knowledge of the heavenly host. They communicated with the messengers of the gods, the angels, or even our ancestors. Folklore, fables and legend have since erupted around these special people. Today, we can believe almost anything is true of them, rather than see the basic physical realities of life. The truth is that these early people were very clever and very in tune with nature and its measured cycles. Their knowledge was so powerful that tribes would often fight to steal one another's holy men. And so we see emerge from the mists of time another strand of mighty men. These men were essential for the progress of the great knowledge, for they were responsible for protecting the thinkers. What emerged was a warrior brotherhood dedicated to defending the peaceful brothers who were the wise men of the tribe, holding special and unique esoteric knowledge as if they were empowered by the gods themselves. Yet again, around this warrior brotherhood would wind the serpentine spiral of symbolism, which in later years would hide their true purpose. The eventual knowledge of these groups would be deemed sacred and protected. Whether it was practical methods of survival, navigation, measurement, or psychological and spiritual inner wisdom, it would become the ground plan for future secret societies. And as populations grew, it would bestow great power and danger upon them. This is the story of the groups who have guarded this sacred knowledge for centuries. From ancient times, there have been tribal priests and warrior elites to protect them and the people in general. In Persia, the Magi watched the stars and worshipped the sun, just as in Europe the Druids were the wise priests. In Egypt, Greece, Rome, India, and almost anywhere else we can imagine, the same process is to be found. A priest worshipping, mapping and measuring via the heavenly host, and a warrior class offering protection. There is nothing secret in this system. It has been in existence for an awfully long time, but it is secretive. The priesthood enacted strange and powerful rituals that were strange and peculiar because nobody else was allowed to understand what they were doing. Garbed in myriad symbols, the holy men and women were magical walking talismans, building and maintaining massive power bases. As their strength grew, so too did their warrior brethren, and as time moved on, their symbols became more and more obscure. There was always an opponent, and not always from outside of the immediate tribe. The main adversary was often the king or queen, who throughout time, from Akhenaten to Henry VIII, have done battle with the priesthood. The royal claimed divine power in the name of God, and yet the priesthood were the voice of God. Somehow they had to work in unison, and around them grew intermediaries. These were very much like our modern day civil servants, running to and fro between departments. These civil servants eventually became more and more powerful in themselves because they had knowledge from both sides and could easily manipulate the events of state. A secret society was born. Based in the knowledge of rulership from the kings, the immense power of the priesthood, and with the ability to manipulate the military, these civil servants rapidly became the real power base, and it was from within this middle ground that the secret services also emerged. Gods came and went. Kings and lineages died out. Political leaders are voted into and out of office, but the civil service always remains, with their very own bloodlines continuing the family business. The pattern of rule the world over is little different to this triple-headed monster. We have a leadership which from the earliest times was based on the royal dynasties, but in modern times has become more secular and politically based. And we have the intermediaries of the civil servants, including those within the legal, financial and administrative systems. Somehow, all of these elements had to work together. Somehow, a common ground had to be found, and it was. We saw earlier how the origins of many of the symbols found within the world of secret societies originated from Sabiism, or star worship. The name Tzaba, in fact, derives from an armed troop of Chaldea, and may mean many baptisms. They worshipped the pole star as the creative principle, which they called IAO, a device later to be found within Christianity, and according to Freemason, secret society expert, and self-proclaimed Antichrist, Aleister Crowley, also means Isis, or nature, ruined by Apophis and resurrected by Osiris. A claim with no basis whatsoever, but utilised by Crowley as self-propaganda, making him appear highly knowledgeable. From this very early time, the worship of the stars was akin to and mingled with nature worship. As part of this, rocks and stones were worshipped and used as both products of the Earth Mother and as gifts from the skies as meteorites. The altar stone, the column, the pedestal were all forms of the divine, and eventually large Bethels, or houses of God, were erected across the world, tapping the divine energy.